Kevin O'Leary explains why restaurants are shuttering across America and why more will follow. He highlights the U.S. restaurant industry dire situation, noting the U.S. restaurant industry finds itself on a menu with frequent headlines about bankruptcies, layoffs, and closures impacting beloved brands like Red Lobster, Applebee's, due to inflation and declining foot traffic post-pandemic. He adds, seemingly every day there's a headline announcing a bankruptcy, layoff, or store closure impacting one of the country's most beloved brands. O'Leary explains that rising food prices and the shift to remote work has significantly hurt restaurants, especially in urban areas where expensive locations are no longer seeing enough foot traffic. He notes eateries in urban locations have been hit especially hard as their expensive locations are no longer receiving the footfall they need to meet rent. It's almost like the days where you used to go to a dealership to buy a car, and nowadays you don't necessarily need to go to a dealership because you do what? You can order a car and it'll come to you. I think Uber Eats has probably played a big role in hurting these guys as well, Tom. But what are your thoughts about the story here?
What I thought with this, the restaurant industry is suffering, and he's right. And I'll paint the picture a little bit more broad. He's talking about like the Applebee's location, downtown Dallas, and you don't have as many people in the high rises. It doesn't take much. If your EBITDA is like 15%, let's say you make 15% profit and you suffer like a 20% drop in people coming to the restaurant, you're probably pinched on the edge of that not being a profitable location, in trouble. So yes, remote work and the urban areas are causing some of it. But now put yourself in this position. How many problems can you manage at once and stay in business? One, sir, some of our key locations in downtown areas, they're pinched because the foot traffic is down. So we're really in trouble with those. We may have to think about closing some of them because now they're consuming cash, not generating it. Oh no. But sir, in general, our overall profitability is down because food prices. And by the way, TransUnion says that the food price inflation over the last 4 years actually is 30%. So that's TransUnion, one of the big credit agencies doing deep research. It's 30%. Okay, food prices are up. And sir, by the way, in 4 states, we're going to have to pay $20 minimum wage. Oh, crap. How many problems can a restaurant manage at the same time as having locations that are not profitable because of foot traffic, getting pinched by $20 minimum wage, and then the food price? So Kevin Leary is right, and he's only hitting on one of the two things. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of people have favorite restaurants and things that they still patronize, but they're not survivable.
But I'm going to tell you something, Rob, Tom. Can you go a little lower on those? That was a very good breakdown. So go up to the top of the article, Rob, if you could. No, the one I just texted you. The one I just texted you, not this one. I texted you your article right now with numbers on Uber Eats, and these numbers will reveal a lot, especially a certain trend. I just texted it to you while Tom was speaking. So here's to look at. So Uber Eats revenue and usage statistics. This is from 2 months ago, April 10th. Okay, go lower. And just one by one, let's look at each chart. Keep going. Okay, let me look at that, what it says, the statistic at the top, right there in the middle. It had, Uber Eats generated $12.1 billion in 2023, 11-year increase. Uber Eats gross booking. Okay, so that's the numbers. Go lower, Rob. Check this out. Keep going. There it is. Okay, zoom out. All right, so that's revenues from Uber Eats from 2018 to now. Look at Q1 2020. Do you see what's Q1? When did COVID happen? Second week of March.
The dip right there.
So they felt it. But COVID launched Uber Eats business to the stratosphere. Go lower. Okay, so right there with the revenues for, go up a little bit, Rob. Go up. You just had it right there. So this is a revenue for them. This is to Uber Eats. 2017, $600 million. 18, $1.5 billion. 19, $1.9 billion. Look at the increase from 2018 to 2019. Not a big increase. Wow. It's only 20%. But look at the increase from 2019 to 2020. Nearly 3x. Wow. Okay? Then 2021, they double again. Then 2022, coming a couple of the restrictions are gone, 10.9, 12.1. But that business of going from 1.9, if you look at it, 1.9 to 12.1 billion, that's all money taken away from somebody. But go lower because that's not the real number. Keep going. That's what Uber Eats made, revenue to them. But go down to how much revenue was the food. Go lower, Rob. This is the actual bookings, okay? Look at that. 3.1 billion to 7.9 billion to 14.5 billion to 30.2 billion to 51.6, 55.7, $67.8 billion. Wow. That's money going away from somebody. So COVID, it's the weirdest way of visual I'll try to give you. So COVID did this. It took money from restaurants, 200,000 restaurants shut down, and that money lost from restaurants. Rob, how much money was lost in restaurants during COVID? Okay, total, I remember it was, directly and indirectly, 50 million jobs were affected. That's not the right number. That is not the right number. It was a number in the billions. But just visualize this. This is the business of restaurants. This is how much money restaurants had. What COVID shutdown did is it took this money from here, gave it to Uber Eats, drivers bringing food to them, and that money from here gave it to Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, okay? Meaning this revenue of $100 billion or whatever the number is came at the cost of destroying the restaurant business. So look at the National Restaurant Association said restaurant and food service sales were $240 billion below.
Wow.
Below 2020 pre-pandemic forecast. More than 110,000 eating and drinking establishments closed last year. The association hopes that 2021, this is that time, right? Now, Rob, do me a favor, keep this article. Can you go and search how much money did, what do you call Pfizer? How much money did Big Pharma make during COVID? How much money did Big Pharma make during COVID? If you can somehow, 90 billion, okay, right there. Big Pharma raked in $90 billion in profits, Vinny, with COVID vaccines. That's it, just the COVID-19 vaccines. Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, and Sinovac made an extraordinary US dollars, $90 billion in profits on the, so that $90 billion of profits is like a 401k rollover. It rolled over from restaurants into Big Pharma.
Wow.
So you know what it makes me think about, Tom? Here's what it makes me think about. Every industry has lobbyists. Every industry has lobbyists, right? This just tells you the lobbyists of Big Pharma are more powerful than the lobbyists of restaurant business. Why didn't the restaurant business lobby harder to protect them? What kind of access to resources do they have? What is the biggest restaurant chain that can go out there and be vocal about it? Why were they so quiet about it? They got destroyed. And if you think about restaurants, Tom, the fast food chains would be considered low income, middle income, right? If you go to McDonald's, Burger King, places like that. Who is the biggest restaurant chain that's not fast food?
Cheesecake Factory?
Cheesecake, TGI Fridays.
I don't know, I think Cheesecake is up. You might be.
I don't know.
You'd probably
I'd be
take
guessing,
girls on a
but,
first date to Cheesecake, Vinny.
Grand Lux,
Uber pick 'em up.
Grand Lux and Cheesecake are in the same
family.
Same family.
How do you Google that? How do you search that? Biggest non-fast food.
But they're probably owned by one big company.
I know, that's what I want to know. I want to know who that is. Who is that? Like, remember we found out that one thing in California with
They own
the one
Panera
guy.
and they own all the different companies.
So who
owns Cheesecake? Who owns
chains?
Applebee's.
Yeah, who owns Applebee's? Who owns Chili's?
So Applebee's, go ahead. What's Applebee's market cap? Do they have that kind of weight? Applebee's market cap.
They're eating good in the neighborhood. I know that.
No,
There it
that's
is,
not a lot.
Brands.
That's $570 million. That is insane. That's nothing, guys.
That's part of
That's
Dine Brand
nothing.
Global. Find out that.
Can you go type in Big Pharma lobbying spending? Big Pharma lobbying budget. Okay, it's whatever it is. Let's just see what numbers comes up. All right, let's see what this is. Can you zoom in, Rob? What does it say?
Pharmaceuticals right there.
It's what, 300 and so what? So
What's
what
the number there, Rob?
So check this out.
378.59.
What Applebee's does in revenue, go back, what Applebee's does in revenue, okay, which is what? $570 million, okay? Today, that's their market cap. They only spend $200 million less than what their revenue is just in lobbying. You're not going to beat them. So guess what, folks? Here's what we learned. Big Pharma's lobbyists are more powerful than the restaurant industry's lobbyists. Wow. And that's how they got destroyed. The greatest 401k rollover, money rolled from 200,000 restaurant owners shutting down into the hands of Big Pharma. There you go. That's one way of looking at it. I'm just purely doing the math, and I'm looking at how this thing took place. But Uber Eats capitalized. Uber took a big share from a lot of these restaurants on the backs of a lot of bad policies.
I have some commentary here, but more from a macro perspective, not necessarily just the food industry, because I like how you kind of broke it down, whether it's Uber, whether it's these restaurants, whatever it is. But from a macro perspective, and then to kind of filter it down to a personal perspective, this is just Darwinism. This is just survival of the fittest. Can you adapt? What do I mean? You know, what percentage of the companies that were in the Fortune 500 in 1950 or even in 1990 are still in the Fortune 500? We hear the stories that it's like the attrition rate is insane. 50% of the companies go out of Fortune 500. I think 10% of the companies that were the biggest companies in the world in 1980 are still in the Fortune 500. How many companies have gone out of business? Whether it's WAMU, you tell that story, whether it's Lehman Brothers, whether it's Bear Stearns, you tell the story about Kmart, JCPenney, Bed Bath & Beyond, Radio Shack, Blockbuster. These were the biggest companies in the world. WeWork, 2 years ago, what was it? Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. If you can't adapt and change with the times and you make poor decisions and you go on offense and you don't play defense, i.e., paying for lobbying, you could potentially go out of business. And I'll bring it to what PBD always says: outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, and then what's the last thing, PBD?
Outlast.
Outlast. If you don't do all those four things, you're not going to outlast the market.
But I'm telling, very good point. When go ahead, Tom.
I don't disagree with your concept, but I think in this case, it wasn't survival of the fittest. There was a meteor that hit Earth and killed all the dinosaurs, depending on which scientist you want to believe. A meteor hit the industry and killed these restaurants, and is what happened. COVID happened. They were forced to close, and all of a sudden they're only making food delivered by Uber Eats, and they don't get beverage. They don't get beverage. They don't get bar tab. They don't get all those other things, and all those other people that worked at the restaurant that were delivering the food. The only people that were working was the 3 chefs in the back making stuff that people were picking up with Uber Eats. So this was a meteor called COVID that hit the restaurant industry, but words talk, numbers scream. And Pat, you broke down all the numbers of where all the numbers flowed after the meteor hit.
By the way, I want to move on because we got the next story I want to get into. Here's what I'll wrap up with this. I hope the folks in the restaurant business pay very close attention. When I was first coming up, and I'm like, I don't want to worry about politics because politics is a dirty business. That line, right? Politics is a dirty business. And guess what, folks? If you pay taxes is a form of politics. So you must pay attention to politics. And here's the other thing I learned as well. A quote back in the days, Rob, can you verify who this is? It's either Plato or Socrates. Those who don't study politics will be governed by fools who do.
Wow.
Let me say it one more time. Those who don't study politics will be governed by fools who do. Yeah. To those of you in the restaurant business, watch the way you vote. One political party locked your ass down and you went out of business. Just remember that. You can sit there and tell me I'm a John F. Kennedy liberal, whatever you want to say. This is a very different climate today with shutting things down, where other states left it open. Bob Iger was helping out Newsom in California with Disney. And then when Newsom said, no, we're going to shut it down, Bob Iger got off the board and said, I'm not helping you out. He had 2 parks. One park was where? California. Shut down. Lost a bunch of jobs. The other place was Florida, ran by a guy named DeSantis that they ended up getting to the biggest fight. And Disney actually played games with DeSantis, calling it the Gable and all these weird things that you guys started doing. Guess what? Florida proved policies were better for restaurant, fast food, parks, and California absolutely wasn't. One of my favorite holidays of the year is around the corner, 4th of July. And we've been working on this merch drop for a while. A lot of you have been asking about, Pat, I want a USA flag. I want an American flag. I want something with Valuetainment that's the American flag to represent for 4th of July. And at the same time, I want there to say Future Looks Bright. I want it to be VT gear. Can we get some? So today, we're giving it to you to purchase so you can wear this gear during 4th of July, which is, a week and a half away. So if you order, these are limited supplies. So let me tell you what we got here. We got this Valuetainment hat with the American flag and Future Looks Bright on the side, which is here for you to order. We got this other one, the navy blue with the red Valuetainment logo, Future Looks Bright, and American flag on the side. And this is so far right now Vinny's favorite. This is Chris's favorite, and this is Tom's favorite. For golfers, Tom likes this one. But this one right here says USA. This is, I think it's a USA for those who love America, flag on the site. Future looks bright. Future looks bright here. And then we got these shirts here as well. Okay, if you look at the screen there with the material, you got to feel the material, incredible material. Valuetainment with the U.S. flag. If you're somebody that loves America and you love Valuetainment, you love the representation that we have on what we talk about, and you want to walk around, because nowadays people are stopping each other. People are stopping each other and say, you're a valuetainer, I'm also a valuetainer. I watch this, I watch that. And you're kind of finding, it's almost like you know what it's like? You know how back in the days, there were certain tattoos people had to be able to know you're also part of that community? I am as well. There's certain gangs and communities that had this for a long time. This is one way where you see somebody with a Valuetainment hat, you don't have to say anything to the other person. You know what they stand for, and they know what you stand for. And it's a very unique connection that takes place. And I get these DMs all the time, and Monex all the time, and messages all the time. So, limited supply. The last time we did the green hat, people are like, oh, it's not going to sell out. Sold out within 90 minutes. This is limited supply. So go place your order. That's the QR code, vtmerch.com. Again, go to vtmerch.com. Place your order for 4th of July gear. Now, anybody places an order over 300, I think we have 10 more seats left to be with us to watch the debate on June 27th. So place an order over 300. You'll be invited to be with us and a friend at our club, 5990 Live Cigars, conversations, all that stuff. We'll watch a debate June 27th. I think it's going to be from 8:30 to like 11 o'clock at night. We'll be together.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.